Number 6. Find the inverse of f of x equals 3x minus 24, all that to the fourth. Determine whether it is a function, meaning its inverse is a function, and state its domain and range. Alright, before we do so, I'm going to start off by finding the domain and range of this function here. The domain on this one, what values of x can I plug in? So we're talking about our x values, and x can be any real number. Your range, what values of y can I get? In this case, since it's going to be have that similar to a parabolic shape, it's going to be an even graph going up and up. Our y's have to be greater than or equal to 0. Now that's not necessarily useful, or that's not necessarily part of our final answer, but it's going to be useful to find our final answer. Alright, now we're going to find our inverse. So let's first start by switching it to y equals your original function, so 3x minus 24, that whole thing to the fourth. Now your inverse, just like we would switch just regular coordinates, we would flip-flop the x and the y, we can flip-flop the x and the y here as well. So I'm going to make it x equals 3y minus 24 to the fourth. From there, we got to solve for y. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little more. So we got to solve this for y. So the first thing we got to end up doing, I'm going to switch colors for a second, is we got to take the fourth root of both sides. Now, when you take the fourth root of a side, if it's not canceling something off, you're going to end up getting the positive and negative version of that. So we have the positive and negative fourth root of x equals, over here, the fourth root and the fourth root and the fourth, or to the fourth power, just cancel off. You're left with 3y minus 24. Keep solving for y. Let's add 24 to both sides. So I have plus or minus the fourth root, the fourth root of x plus 24 equals 3y. Now we're almost home. We need to get y all by itself. Divide both sides by 3. I'm going to divide each of those individually by 3. So the plus or minus the fourth root of x divided by 3, I'm just going to write that as plus or minus 1/3 fourth root of x. And then 24 divided by 3, that ends up just being 8 equals y. So to clean it up in our final form, f inverse of x equals plus or minus 1/3 times the fourth root of x plus 8. Okay, so now we found the inverse. And it asks us to say whether it is a function or not. Is it a function? Well, no, it's not. One way you can determine that, your function cannot have any pluses or minuses in them. So you can have just regular plus, you can have regular minus, but you can't have the plus or minus, because that means for every x value that I plug in, I'll get a positive version of a piece of it and a negative version. So I'm going to get two outputs. So this is not a function. Sorry, that got a little sloppy there. Let me rewrite that. Now, you still can find the domain and range for this. The reason I found our domain and range at the beginning for our original function is now they just flip-flop. So originally it was x is an element to all reals and y greater than or equal to 0. Now we just flip-flop those. So our domain is still using x. X is greater than or equal to 0. And our range, still talking about the y's, is y is an element of all reals. If you can't remember, if you didn't find the domain and range at the beginning, take a look at what you're doing here with your x's. If you're looking at this, the fourth root of x, you can't plug in a negative number there. You can't take the fourth root of a negative number. You can't take any even root of a negative number. So our x's have to be greater than or equal to 0. And then in terms of the y's, you see we've got this plus or minus here, which means we're going to get positive versions and negative versions. So we're going to keep on getting more and more positive answers and more outputs, and more negative outputs. So it covers all of the real numbers.